see.
Everything okay?
My lab partner's not messaging me back.
Oh yeah, I think I saw them talking with the professor earlier.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. They said they were gonna do that.
Is this supposed to be this color?
That's what I need my lab partner here for. Good enough. Wanna head out, I have that math test soon. Got a power review, you know?
Oh, good luck.
I better put this in the incubator so that the bacteria may flourish. Goodbye, bacteria.
We are eternal, the pinnacle of evolution and existence.
Oh, I forgot my calculator. Luckily, there's one right here.
I am the vanguard of your destruction.
I have that date! Ooh. Ooh. Free pens!
We are infinite. We are the end of everything.
All you need is love.
Before us, you are nothing. Your extinction is inevitable. You exist because we allow it, and you will end because we demand it.
Yes. Science. I'm hungry.
Oh my goodness, we can't leave that be. Let's rewind that. The source of the problem. Phones are covered in bacteria. About 40% of phones are contaminated with significant amounts of bacteria. When cultured, researchers have found that 20% of these bacteria are multi-drug resistant. These bacteria are often potential pathogens, especially in hospital settings. The most common of these bacteria include E. coli, MRSA, Acinetobacter, and Pseudomonas species, as well as influenza virus. Think about it, we always have our phones. We use them on the toilet, in the car, while we eat. Despite this, people rarely, if ever, disinfect their phones. Phones serve as a sort of public transportation for bacteria, shuttling them from the environment to your hands to your phone and back again. This means that when you're using your phone in lab, you're taking two big risks. The first is that you might be bringing in dangerous environmental organisms, contaminating your work. What if the pathogens on your phone horizontally transfer drug resistance or pathogenic traits to whatever you're working? This could make a normally harmless microbe become more dangerous than the lab's safety standards are prepared to deal with. You could also bring your microbes out into the environment. In labs, we often give microbes things like drug resistance to help screen our experiments. The last thing we want is to introduce these traits into the environment. We also work with pathogens in the lab where we can deal with them safely, but once exported into the environment, they can do real harm. Since these pathogens might be hiding on your phone, you're likely to be the first infected. This isn't just hypothetical either. In a 2010-2011 outbreak of Salmonella typhimurium, it was found that the people who were sick were 30 times more likely to have spent time working with Salmonella in their lab classes than people who weren't getting sick. After thorough investigation, the CDC determined that frequent cell phone usage in the lab likely aided the outbreak. For all the same reasons we keep our phones put away in the lab, we also keep our coats and eyewear in the lab. These items are covered in microorganisms and must undergo specific decontamination procedures before they can leave the lab. Since these procedures take a decent amount of time, we keep them in the lab. Studies have shown that about 60% of lab coats harbor pathogenic microbes, most of which have at least one antibiotic resistance. Under normal conditions, the microorganisms that you'll see in any teaching lab are pretty harmless, but there are a lot of people out there with some sort of immune deficiency that could be at risk from these lower risk pathogens. In 2009, a researcher, Malcolm Casadaban, died from being exposed to a supposedly non-infectious strain of Yersinia pestis via a small spill because of an overabundance of iron in his bloodstream made him far more vulnerable to the bacteria. Because of cases like this, we have to try to keep everything that comes out of this lab as sterile as possible, including the lab notebooks and documents we work with. We keep our documents away from our workspace to keep them sterile. Oh my, you should always eat, store, or dispose of your edibles outside of the lab. Not only can food collect microbes like every other item, it even has nutrients for the microbe to multiply. Then, you do the potential pathogen the favor of ingesting it. Basically, that makes food a Trojan horse. Lastly, we need to store and dispose of our supplies properly. You should always tape your plates shut so that if they fall, they don't open and contaminate the area or get contaminated. Level your plates and flasks, wells, etc., so that the contents can easily be identified by both you or lab staff. Check your safety procedures as well as signs in the room to dispose of materials properly. Gloves and anything disposable that comes into contact with microbes should be placed in an incubator bag. Other items like test tubes, flasks, pipettes, each have their own place. Check your lab safety materials or ask your instructors if you need help finding proper disposal sites.
Bacteria, we begin with only one. Bacteria, two is what we then become. Bacteria, each of us becomes two more. Bacteria, we are stronger than before. Bacteria, we keep growing at this rate. Bacteria, no longer shall we wait. Bacteria, the plan now unfolds. Bacteria, we will take over the world.